Hi, I'm Anne Pollard, and this is the reading of my book, Cleo's Fabulous Adventures, The Realm of the Woods. Chapter 22, Thoth the Toad. Bacchus turned to Cleo and Zuriel and smiled. Just for a moment, he looked at them standing side by side. He could feel the love radiating from them both and just wanted to savor that for a while. Cleo smiled back and said, "What is it, Bacchus?" "Utter joy," said Bacchus. "We still have much to see and learn, Cleo. I think we should be on our way." Cleo nodded. Bacchus turned to the path as Cleo and Zuriel followed. The path moved away from the warm and arid landscape toward a luscious green meadow. As they weaved their way through thick, tall grass, the path magically opened a part that was easy to walk through. The meadow was alive with sounds, smells, and beauty. The melody of birds and crickets created a wonderful background noise, all merging together so no one sound was distinct. The smells were very dense and even heavy. It was earthy and moist. There were smells of decay. As they moved further into the meadow, the path led to a wonderful little pond. It wasn't very big, but the water was calm and crystal clear. There were rocks and twigs strewn on the ground around it, and a fabulous display of flowers by the banks of the pond. It was so serene, with the sounds in the background. Bacchus sauntered up to the side of the pond and stopped. He sniffed the air and smiled. Cleo said, "Oh, Bacchus, this is so beautiful." "Yes, it is," replied Bacchus. "Cleo, would you do something for me?" "Of course," said Cleo. Bacchus continued, "Would you try to look in the water again? Given what you've been through now, I would like to see if you can now tell yourself that you really love you, because I think you have a newfound sense of self, and you should love that." Cleo smiled a wide grin and walked to the edge of the pond. She leaned over and saw her reflection in the water, and this time she didn't cringe. She smiled. And as she looked at her reflection in the water, she boldly said out loud, "I love you." And she felt it. Zuriel put his hand on her shoulder, and she could feel the energy surge through her body. She felt a power and humility that was even beyond what she thought could be. "I did it, Bacchus. I said it, and I meant it." Bacchus bowed his head toward Cleo, feeling her joy. As Cleo looked at the pond, she saw a flash of something to her right. She looked closer to see a small toad, half in and half out of the water. He was so cute. "Look, Bacchus," she said, "there's a toad." Bacchus laughed and said, "Cleo, meet Thoth." "Oh, goodness. Hello, Thoth," said Cleo. Thoth raised his head slightly as the lower part of his jawline blew up into a bubble. The bubble was as big as his head. Then he made the strangest sound. As Thoth pushed air through the sac under his jaw, he made a high-pitched call that sounded like a trill. It lasted for about 10 seconds. Then the sac disappeared back under his jaw. He was a funny-looking thing, to be sure. He had small, squatty body with shades of green and brown. He had black markings all over, spots and lines. His head looked like a triangle with a wide jaw and 2 eyes that stood prominently on top of his head. His legs were short and fat, with little fingers jutting out from his webbed feet. He had bumps all over his body that blended into his leathery skin. "Hello, Cleo. Hello, Bacchus. Hello, Zuriel," said Thoth. "Thank you for meeting me at my favorite pond. Isn't this the most magical place?" Bacchus nodded back to Thoth and said, "It is a wonderful pond indeed. Thank you for having us here, Thoth. I'm so pleased to see you again." "As I am pleased to see you, Bacchus," answered Thoth. My, Cleo, you have had quite the journey. So much magic, so many animals. A wonderful transformation, to be sure. Perhaps we can all just sit and relax for a moment and think about everything that's happened so far. Contemplation is so wonderful. May I discuss with you, Cleo, as you relax and reflect? Cleo said, yes, that sounds nice. My mind and body are racing right now in a good way, but I could probably use some time to reflect. Perfect, said Thoth. Cleo, right now you are probably feeling better than perhaps you have ever felt in your whole life, and there is nothing better than that. Know that you can never return to the girl that you were when you started this adventure. She has now become the full butterfly, the hawk, with mighty wings to soar beyond what you can even imagine. Know that your path is assured, and it only gets crazy good from here. It's going to take you days to journal everything that's happened for you. Cleo looked at Thoth and said, well, I hadn't thought about that. I don't really keep a diary or journal. Then, said Thoth, this is the time to start. Writing is so therapeutic, and the written word will sustain you when you have your down days. And don't be fooled, you will have down days. You are a human, and all humans have dense emotions. On those days, you can review your journal and see just how far you've come. I know you have computers and phones that you can use to write with, but I recommend writing your journal by hand. It's a different experience, more grounded. Feeling pen to paper is such a good way to connect back to yourself. Write everything you feel, what you think, and it will clarify for you. It's very healing. Remember what Fairy the Fox said. Write down your intuitive thoughts so you can go back and hone your intuition skills. Review your journal often to remind you of the accomplishments that you've made. That kind of internal reflection will help you contemplate and see how strong your skills really are. And writing something on paper does another thing. It brings your thoughts into reality. As you write, you are birthing the idea into the world. And when you read it back, you can feel what you wrote. And that is very powerful, to see and feel your words. You are in a very volatile time in your life right now. Some days you may feel unsettled. Use your writing and your journal to ground you and get you back to a place of wholeness. That sounds like really good advice, said Cleo. Thoth nodded his little head, then leapt out of the pool onto a rock. He jumped with such ease that his back legs propelled him forward, and he landed with a bit of a croak in his voice. He still had some water spots on his body. He said, yes, thank you. Writing can connect you with your primal, instinctual self. When you are ready, you can also do some automatic writing to feel a stronger connection to all that is. Cleo looked at him a little puzzled. What is automatic writing? She asked. Oh, said Thoth. It's something I think you will enjoy. You get your pen and paper ready and thank your guides for inspiration and creativity. And then you just write. Don't think about it. Don't try to force it. Just write. Anything. And as you continue to write, you'll get messages and inspiration. You'll be in a state of trance and just let it flow. You may not even be conscious of what you're writing. Have fun with it. That's the best part. Then you can read back what you wrote. You may be amazed at what you find. That actually sounds like fun, said Cleo. I can see that you take writing very seriously, and I can see the power in what you are saying. I will definitely do that going forward. Good, said Thoth. It's an important part of your daily sacred work. Just set aside the time to meditate and write every day. The more you do that, the more it becomes part of that autopilot of your subconscious that Sachel was talking about earlier. And that, Cleo, is a belief that you want to keep. We are all here for you always, in every moment. You only need to ask for our help, and we will be there." Cleo smiled and thanked Thoth for his wisdom and insights. Bacchus said, "Thank you, Thoth, for always bringing good things. I appreciate your time and wish you a wonderful day in the pond." Thoth croaked with a big smile on his face and said, "Thank you, Bacchus. I will see you again very soon." Then Thoth turned and jumped back into the pond, basking in the beautiful ripples he just created. Thank you for joining me. Have a fabulous day.